Just a Job is the podcast for the modern woman to redefine what success looks like. We highlight real women and their real stories.
Hello, welcome to Just a Job. This is our first official episode, and we're just honestly so excited. Before we hop into interviews with some of our favorite women, Ellen and I really just wanted to fill you in on the story of us, how we met, our professional journeys, and everything in between. So, welcome, Ellen.
Hi.
Damn it, I shouldn't have done that. How do you want me to segue?
Why? Oh, I think that segue is perfection. We're loosey-goosey up in here. It's fine.
All right. The first episode jitters, we're just going to get them out of the way. Ellen, I want to start with you. Can you share the story of how we met? Please?
Oh my God. I would be thrilled to share this story. Sarah and I met. Oh shit. I forgot how many years it was. We even did the math. It's either 6 or 7.
I think 6.
6. All right. Me and Sarah met 6 years ago at a party because both of our, at the time, boyfriends were in PT school at KU. And they had this little pregame before we went out somewhere. And that was the first time that we were both going to meet all of the peeps. So we show up and it's all physical therapists and then me and Sarah. And
naturally,
they were talking. And everyone was talking about like the anatomy class or something that they had took. And they were literally talking about like bones and muscles and ligaments. And I was like, I have absolutely nothing to contribute to this conversation. And I went over and I remember meeting you and you were like, yeah, I'm not a PT. I'm like, thank God. So we immediately hit it off because I was like, please help me. I don't know anyone. And I also don't know what these people are talking about. So that was our very, very first encounter. And I feel like we just became friends instantly. Like we were both going through super similar situations with both of our now husbands going through PT school at the same time. And they both are very similar in like their studying habits and like how passionate they were for their careers. And we were kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum of
lost.
Not really so sad and lost. Just like not knowing what we were doing. And like, we were like, is this what it's like? Is this what it's going to be like for the rest of our lives? Like, this is not what we signed up for. So we just immediately became friends over that, bonding over the fact of like, I'm kind of at this place. I don't know what I'm doing. I was not living in Kansas City at the time, and neither were you. And it was hard being one, away from your significant other, and then 2, navigating a career of what the hell am I doing? So, oh my gosh, it's so fun like looking back on our friendship and like, oh, there's 2 little girls that met at the pregame. Oh my God. What were some other like monumental friendship moments? I knew that I kind of sort of helped Michael propose to you. Not really, more of like he told me that he was proposing and that I got to pick you up from the airport when you got back. So that felt incredibly special.
Not to mention you married us.
Oh, that small tidbit of information. I was their efficient. In case anyone needs an efficient in the state of Utah, I am legally allowed to do so per online. I literally have that card. I should have had that and like held it up. Wouldn't that be funny? We were in each other's weddings, bachelorette parties. We've met each other's families, got on vacations together, like the whole 9 yards. So, most recently, the idea of Just a Job came together. So Sarah, talk us through kind of how we got here.
How we got here. So yeah, I mean, I feel like the topic, honestly, like kind of the underlying theme of our friendship has always been like talking about jobs, talking about careers. And a lot of that stemmed from like those feelings that came when our husbands were in PT school, but also just like, I think that's how you and I just kind of operate. And so it was like our fun conversations of like going out and stuff would turn into like deep conversations about maternity leaves. And it was just like, we've always had this kind of like corporate-y job thing in our friendship. And we've gone on what I would consider like business trips together. Like we went to Create and Cultivate in New York. And so we've always just been like super fascinated by this type of conversation, both like together, but also separately. And so we started this note in our phone, this shared note where we would just bounce ideas off. And it's also important to mention that Ella and I are both project managers. So
That's
we
a
have
good.
we have a very similar job, but I think that also explains like who we are as people. We're very organized. We're very proactive. We like to communicate. Like we just have a lot in common. So we started this. We love the list. Literally, I have 4 notebooks on my desk right now. So we decided like we have all these conversations, and then when you start to have friends, or excuse me, those conversations with like people outside of just the two of us, we were kind of like, okay, a lot of other people like to have these conversations, and there's a lot of space that isn't being filled with these types of conversations. And we just find it super interesting, like learning about everyone's career's journey, whether they're project managers or dentists or practitioners or business owners. Like everybody has such a beautiful journey, and we've just really loved learning kind of that human side of everything. So we landed like on a podcast pretty immediately, and took a minute to kind of think through how we wanted to name the podcast and structure it, and landed on Just a Job, because we always decided like literally at the end of every conversation, we're just like, okay, that was a lot of hot breath, but like at the end of the day, it's literally just a job. It's fine. Whatever happens, we'll be on to the next. And so that's what landed us here with the name of the podcast. So it's been a lot of fun. We've learned a lot, and I'm now excited to hear about Ellen's story of how you got here. So take it back.
This is so fun, like now being able to talk about myself, because it's probably one of my most favorite things to do. And as we're interviewing people, I'm like, oh my God, I can't interrupt because that's so rude. But I have a story about this. So I'm like,
the floor is yours, Ellen. The mic is hot. Let it go.
I have the microphone. I'm so excited. Oh my God, where to start? So I think it's funny. When I was little, I'll start there. In 5th grade, I so vividly remember wanting to be a lawyer. And my like best friend at the time had the same initials as me, and she also wanted to be a lawyer. So we created business cards, EM Law Firm, and I need to go find that on my Microsoft Publisher. It's probably not even on my computer anymore, but that would be really funny. So wanted to be a lawyer. I think that crashed and burned rather quickly. It's just a little phase I went through, but it's interesting. That's like the first time I can vividly remember, like, this is what I want to be when I grow up. So sad. Sorry, no offense to the lawyers. That's just couldn't be me.
None.
And I'm sure if a lawyer was thinking about a project manager and like that role, they wouldn't like that either. At least I would think so. So went through high school having absolutely no idea what I wanted to do really until my senior year. I took my school like offered crazy extracurricular classes and has all of these crazy sports and stuff that like a lot of other high schools don't have. So I was really grateful that I had that opportunity, that an athletic training class came up, and I had an extra like time slot in my schedule. I thought it sounded cool. A lot of my friends are doing it, so I signed up. I took the class, really, really enjoyed it. I actually did really well, which is a big thing for me. School and I were never friends, nor will we ever be friends. So me doing like naturally well and having like material come easily to me was a big sign of like, oh, I enjoy this and I'm good at it. I'm going to make a career out of this. So I went to the University of Alabama, which is so funny because I grew up in San Diego and everyone's like, what are you doing here? How did this happen? My high school guidance counselor recommended it to me, which is, you probably had to fill a quota or something. And that was me.
You're the one.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now that I look back on it, I'm like, whatever. So went to Alabama, absolutely loved it. Like, talk about the college experience. Good Lord. Freshman year, sign up to go into their athletic training program. Oh my God. And I remember the first couple of classes, like biology. Ew. This like advanced math class. Ew. So did not enjoy those. And your girl had a little bit of a rough transition going into college. I finally had freedom. And I literally did whatever I wanted. Like,
I'm just going
I
to pause you right
literally,
there. The Catholic schoolgirl had
oh,
her freedom. Paint your
literally.
picture.
Hmm. And my mom, God love her, is like super strict. She was very like by the book with things. And her and I butted heads all through high school. All I wanted to do was just like, if she said left, I went right just because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be a brat. Sorry, mom. So I finally got my taste of freedom, had absolutely no idea how to, like manage it, healthily. I'll say, is healthily a word? In a healthy way. I'll say that. So I literally didn't go to class because I didn't want to. I partied all the time and I got really bad grades. What a concept. 1 + 1 = 2. So at the end of the year, my parents were like, we are not paying all this money for you to go to school and literally fail all of your classes. Like, get it
Mm-hmm.
together. You're not going back. And I was like, that's simply not an option for me. All my friends are there. I love it there. Like, I can't not go back. So there was a community college, like maybe 15, 20 minutes down the road. I found that and I was like, if I can like commit myself to going here and like raising my grades, finishing my like general education classes, can I go? And my dad was like, you got to figure it out, but yeah, go for it. So I got it together very quickly because if you know my parents, they are very like they expect a lot from me, but in a way that like
Mm-hmm.
is best for me. So they knew that like having a more like structured approach to like that transition to college was probably better for me anyway. So I went to Shelton. Oh my God, I just remember the name of it, Shelton, for like a year and a half. And I grinded like there was no tomorrow. So I brought my grades back up and then I forget exactly when, honestly, but transitioned back to Alabama full time. And I was like, I had finished all my general education classes and I was like, I know I don't want to do athletic training anymore. And I probably don't have the grades to get back into the program. So I had always, like, my mom was a kindergarten teacher. I'd always loved working with little kids. I had babysat for forever. So I went back into early childhood education and like learning about how like little babies' brains develop is just so fascinating. Like it was so cool. So I really, really enjoyed that. Graduated, and I still kick myself for saying this, but I graduated on a Saturday, and then started my new job on a Monday, which in retrospect was not a very good
Hmm.
idea.
24
Hmm.
hours.
Yeah, not my smartest. I packed all my stuff up on Sunday, moved home, and started my new job. Like, why did I do that? That was so dumb.
That that is the epitome of a Sunday scary.
The scariest Sunday of all time. Like, why did I do that?
You didn't know any better.
Jesus. Oh, that's what I thought you were supposed to do. You graduate college and you get a job and you go to work and you
Done.
like it.
Mm-hmm.
Tough cookies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I nannied for a family in Atlanta for a little bit, lived at home. And a couple months before graduation, I had met my now husband, Tim, and I was like, oh my God, I really like this man. Something is happening. I feel differently about him than I have like any boy ever. What's going on? That combined with not really enjoying nannying, it just like was not what I thought it was going to be. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
if you've ever driven in Atlanta traffic, you understand that an hour to and from work every single day is just the worst ever. And you like question all your life choices in traffic. So a lot of those life choices was, what am I doing? So I did the most spontaneous thing I've ever done in my life. Got a job at K State University. Go Cats. See,
Hey, meow meow.
there's my K State support. Look at that. Got a job at K State and I packed up everything into my car and drove from Atlanta to Kansas. And I also, in retrospect, looking back at that, I'm like, who was that girl? Who did that? So moved to to K State. It was the cutest little teeny tiny college town. Worked for K State at the Child Development Center for a couple of years. Really enjoyed it. Good working experience there. But just didn't love Manhattan. It's so small. And going from like San Diego, Atlanta to this teeny tiny little town in almost the middle of Kansas. I was like, oh, okay. That was an extreme I was not prepared for. Then moved back to Kansas City, nannying, teaching, back to nannying in Kansas City for a family for almost 3 years, I think, something like that. And they were great, learned a lot, same thing. But I just was like, okay, I'm ready for promotions. I'm ready for like a career trajectory and more structure, and knowing that I can take this like to build my future, build a family, and just like make, again, shape my life kind of how I was picturing it. So
Yeah.
I started at my very first corporate job literally the day the office closed in March of 2020, during COVID. So that was the worst onboarding experience because like no one knew what to do. And no one knew how to like train virtually and like how to get my laptop and stuff. It was chaos. So I worked there for almost 4 years. Yeah, almost 4 years. And now I am unemployed, happily unemployed.
That was
I
a
will say that.
good. That's yeah. I was gonna say that's good music.
That's good music. Yeah, like the little rap horns, like beep, 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 beep. Totally. So my last role there was as a project manager. I got my PMP in March. If anyone is doing that, my heart goes out to you. Holy moly. I'm really glad I did it though. I'm glad that I have that. And I just got my Six Sigma green belt. Did I tell you that?
I think you did. I honestly don't know what that is. So we'll have to discuss that.
Let's chat offline.
Offline.
For those who are not listening to this in a video fashion, I just gave Sarah the most beautiful wink of my entire life. So now I am unemployed, and I am like, the timing of this is so, I mean, oh my God, everything happens for a reason. Like, I am so happy I can like pour my time and effort into the podcast specifically because it just like, it brings me so much joy. And like, also selfishly, just being able to work with you and like have friend time all the time is so nice.
That's so sweet, Ellen.
It's so nice. I just love you, my friend. So
I love you.
Selfishly, I'm loving it. Like, being able to pour my time and effort into something that really truly brings me joy, and that like we're the own bosses of, and it's our say and no one else's, is like so rewarding. So I will be looking for another job here in a little bit, so I'll bring the listeners along on my career journey and see what the lovely job market will be offering me.
Yeah, we'll have to do like segments on like shit that happened in my interview, or
literally,
you know, I don't know, just something about that. I feel like
crazy
that's
shit that a recruiter emailed me in LinkedIn or something, because some of those people are wiling out in the messages in LinkedIn. Oh my God. So now that my like throat hurts from talking 20 minutes about myself.
No, wait, no, we need to get first. I think it's important to acknowledge how much I appreciate, and I hope that the listeners appreciate your candid, your candidacy. And what the fuck? I don't even know.
Like,
basically,
transparency,
just being transparency, vulnerability about your college transition.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, because that's something that like you could easily withhold for a long time. Nobody would know.
And I have.
Yeah.
I didn't even tell you about it until like a little over a year ago when we were driving to Austin, the world's longest car drive. But yeah, like I was so embarrassed for such a long time. Like I lost friends over it. Like people were like, "You're going to a community college? I don't want to be friends with you anymore." Like that's a quick way to learn who your friends truly are and aren't. But
yeah,
you know, I was really ashamed for it for a really long time. Like again, it's not something I like openly tell people, but I think it's nice now to like take ownership of it and be like, yeah, it happened, but like it made me who I am today. And knowing that like I had to go through that and like get my shit together in like very quickly, it made me appreciate college a lot more. it made me work a lot harder. And I feel like that fueled my work ethic now. So I'm very grateful that it happened now. During it, I was like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. But
I'm
it's nice
done.
to be
Yeah.
able, totally. It's nice to be able to like own it and share it in my own way instead of like, I don't know. I literally removed it from my LinkedIn profile a while ago because I was like, I don't want this on there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Like it's a part of your journey, and I
yeah,
think that it's important to share because you're not the only one. People, you sign up,
exactly.
and it's 4 years of your life, and it's 4
Hmm.
very big transitional years of your life.
Yeah.
And to think that those years will be smooth sailing on any account, not just
Hmm.
like education, but like health, friendships, family, like
Totally.
shit happens,
Hmm.
and you righted the ship, and it wasn't a wrong ship by any means.
Yeah.
But it's important to share because like, I mean, Alabama's huge. Like, think about how many other students were probably in the same boat.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I have other friends that have had the same thing. Like, college is just like
Hmm.
a really fucking difficult time. So thanks for sharing. I think that that's
Oh
big.
my God. Absolutely. And like, if anyone has ever gone through anything like that, message me. I'd love to talk. Like, it's just, you'll get through it. And again, like, I'm very grateful where I am now and like what it taught me and where it's led me. So, how's that for tying a nice little bow on my speaking portion?
It is great, Ellen. Thanks for
Okay,
sharing.
Miss Sarah Soph, I'm passing the virtual microphone to you. What did you want to be when you were little? Let's start there.
I You were
Do you
talking about
remember?
yours. I honestly don't remember. Um I always just remember looking at my parents as like figureheads for me. My
Hmm.
mom, she was a stay-at-home mom until I was in middle school.
Hmm.
So she always was like the caretaker. And so I think I didn't necessarily like see that as a job, but I just saw her, and I have a lot of her qualities now. I look at my dad, and my dad has been at the same job since he graduated college. I call him a lifer. You'll hear it in the podcast probably quite a bit. And I always like loved his work ethic. But growing up, I don't know that I had anything. I was too busy making up dances to think about what, what I wanted to be growing up. Maybe I wanted to. Well, you know what? Actually, I did want to be a dentist. I wanted to be a dentist up until probably like junior year of college. And I don't know what it was because I actually hate the
Same.
dentist.
Couldn't
I
hate.
hate
That's
the
my
dentist.
least favorite doctor's appointment.
Yes, send me to the doctor. I will get a pap smear twice over going to the dentist.
Amen. I couldn't agree more. Like, I will go for 4 breast exams before I go to the dentist.
I hate the dentist. So the fact that I wanted to be one is so
Sorry.
fascinating. It really wasn't until they told me that I had to take biology, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be a hard pass.
Hmm.
So yeah, growing up, I didn't know what I wanted to be, but it's just funny because I grew up in a small town, and my dad grew up in the same town, and so I very much like carried the name of being a Soph. So I always just like tried to be the best at everything that I could do, but I don't know that I ever really took the time to kind of do the like inner looking of like, well, what do I want? I just
Hmm.
wanted to be like good and presentable. And I knew that I liked talking to people. I literally said those words. Those words came out of my mouth as I was sitting at my family's desktop computer applying for college. I know I like talking to people. I'll do public relations. So that's what I did. So I got my degree in public relations, which is so funny because it was in the J school at K State. And like, I can't write worth shit. So I'm like, getting my degree in technically journalism. And again, I knew that I wanted to like be good. That was kind of, I feel like I
Yeah.
have like good girl syndrome. I wanted to be good. So I got an internship right after my freshman year. I was apparently itching to sit at a desk. I don't know why,
Oh my God,
but I
your
got,
freshman year.
yeah. So I got an internship, 18, and I'm like driving up to Kansas City, and I worked at the National Kidney Foundation, which was amazing. I loved the nonprofit world, but it was part-time, but at least gave me kind of an intro into the events world, which I really, really liked. Flash forward, my sophomore year, my summer of my sophomore year, I was an intern at the Kansas City Power and Light District, which like I felt like hot shit. I'm
That
20.
is so cool.
I am working in downtown Kansas City. I remember I went in for my interview, and it was on like the 30 something floor of what was the Midwest Bank building. And I was like, I have made it. Like I could have been in New
Literally.
York. That's how cool I felt. And
Oh my
I
God.
obviously had a blast there. It gave me another good, kind of look into the events and marketing world, and just had a lot of fun, met a lot of really great people and had some good connections from that. And then right before my senior year, I had an internship at an ad agency, which if you work in the realm of marketing and communications, ad agencies are kind of the epitome of the like beer keg and ping pong, like I thought that it was going to be a lot of fun. Again, another desk job. And I worked there through my first job. And you and I met those first 3 months post grad. Like I feel like I should just call them the dark ages because they were so emotional for me in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we met in August, and I feel like June, July, and August were probably like the 90 days of my life that have impacted me honestly the most. It was the first time I had ever really experienced anxiety. It was the first time I had ever experienced just feeling utterly lost. It was the first time in my life that I felt like I had to like really overdo it to prove myself. And up until then, like quite frankly, I'd always kind of thought my life was easy. And now I'm like out with the wolves and I'm just another little fish in a pond, and I really, really struggled. And I remember I was about honestly 5 months into my job. And I was just looking around going like, am I the only one that feels this way? Like I didn't have any other coworkers that felt that way. I didn't really, I mean, besides you and I were at that point weren't like super vulnerable with each other.
Yeah.
I just remember feeling like, okay, maybe it's me. Like maybe I'm the messed up one here. And I would say that's kind of when like my not like entrepreneurial itch came to be, but that's when like I was like, okay, I'm really the writer of my destiny. So after that, I reached out to a wedding planner that I had coordinated with one time, and I said, hey, I need your help. Like, do you have anything? And she's like, oh, there's actually a venue opening up in Kansas City. And I said, great. Get me in contact with them. I will send them my resume immediately.
Yeah.
I had an interview and got the job. And the job itself was like, we don't have a title. We're basically just creating something. We need a body, is literally what it was. So I took the job and I worked at Abbott Events in downtown Kansas City and absolutely loved it. I had those are like the golden years kind of because I'm 22, 23, 24 is kind of the age range that I was. I'm living in downtown Kansas City, working in downtown Kansas City and events, hosting events for the Chiefs and the Royals and big name companies. And there were obviously a lot of struggles with that. Event world is not easy. COVID happened and we moved to Omaha for my now husband's job. And I went back into the marketing world. I got a job as a project manager. And very similarly, it was, we don't necessarily know exactly what this will look like, but we know that we need a project manager. And there I found a platform called Asana, which I really fell in love with. And I ended up starting my own business. And I had a couple of clients and then wedding planning hit. So I was like, okay, this has got to take us, a little side seat. So started wedding planning and then switched jobs again as a project manager for a cannabis tech company in August of last year. And then I am now essentially working with a couple of different clients as a project manager. So it's just interesting, like looking back at my journey. I've always worked in like the marketing events world, but I feel like now for the first time, I'm like choosing what's important to me and what I really like to do and where I feel like my skill sets best align with. So more to come, I guess. I don't know. It's been fun.
Come.
Yeah.
Where do you want to take this in like the next 5 years?
Ellen, I don't know.
Keep on keeping on. Making some more money.
I think it's so fascinating when like and I'll ask the same question to you. Like when we think about success, I always thought it was to like make other people happy, like to make other people's lives easier. And the older I get, I'm just like, you know what? I am so over that. Like how can I like create a life for myself, for my now family? Like how can we travel more, experience more freedom, have more, financial security? Like those are the important things to me. Like F the noise, I'm in it for us.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what about you? Like how do you define success?
Well, I like what you said earlier. I used to always say like, "Oh, I want to help other people." Like I like helping other
Mm-hmm.
people. That's what I like
Mm-hmm.
found joy in. And now, not to be like literally the most selfish girl in the whole wide world, but like,
Be
oh my
selfish.
God, I'm being selfish. I'm about to turn 30, not about. There's still several months in between me and 30, I would like to clarify. And I am like, oh my God, I feel like I finally reached that point where I'm like, I really don't care what anyone else has to say.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do things that make me happy and that bring me joy. So I think now my definition of success is just doing things for me that are beneficial to me and my family and that makes sense for me and saying
Mm-hmm.
no to things that are not right. And I am a people pleaser and saying no is exceptionally difficult. I
Mm-hmm.
hate when I like let someone down or disappoint someone. Like we were just talking earlier, I officially threw in the towel for I was supposed to run a half marathon in December with my husband and I used to do running before, but I have discovered that I hate running. I cannot enunciate that enough. And I was like, this just isn't serving me. I am not enjoying this. I like spending time with Tim. And honestly, like
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
held on to it for so long because I was a people pleaser. And I was like, oh, well, I don't want to disappoint Tim. And I don't, no, I did not enjoy it. I'm not doing it anymore. I love you, Tim.
Done.
I will happily support you in your running journey without me in it. I'm okay. So I think to just like tie a bow on it, anything that like brings me joy and makes me happy is like what I want to be working on going
Mm-hmm.
forward. And then success out of that is just being happy and then being proud of the work that what I'm doing and how I'm supporting my family.
Right. And
Yeah.
like I was just talking with a colleague. It's like, I think so often we think of like personal goals and professional goals. And for me, I feel like your personal goals dictate what your professional goals could be or should
Yeah.
be. Like,
Hmm.
I know everyone is different. There are some people that are just so career motivated. And I guess that's a point to make. We went
Yeah.
back and forth with how we were going to name the podcast. Like, we
Hmm.
understand that some people love working. If that's
Hmm.
your thing, do it. The hope is that one day we'll all be able to find a job that we love that doesn't feel like work and it's not just a job. But for a
Yeah.
lot of people, a job is a means to an end. It's an exchange of time in order to get money. So like what of that? I don't even know where I was going with that, but like your professional goals should dictate that. That's a lot of time that you're spending on these, on these jobs. And
Yeah.
now I'm just rambling, but I think it's important to note that like the ultimate goal is to be in a place where your job allows you to just like have the most fruitful life that you want.
Right. And like what you said earlier, like this is not going to be a shit on the corporate world. It might be sometimes, but that's not the
Sometimes.
purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, but that's not the purpose. And like it's more like our focus is just going to be like I wanted to be a lawyer, then a athletic trainer, then I was in early childhood education, then the corporate world, and now I'm making a podcast full time, I'll say. So, and like it's okay that you don't know what you're doing and you don't have it all figured out. And even if you do, like you're not your job, you have a life outside of work. And even if that's something that you really, really enjoy is climbing the corporate ladder and working towards whatever goal it is that's next. And you see yourself like being in the corporate world that provides a lot of stability for the rest of your life, like hell yeah, all the power to you. If that is like what
Mm-hmm.
drives you and makes you happy, like good for you that 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 is fulfilling to you and that you're going to continue to work towards it.
Yeah. Like we're cheerleaders for whatever brings you joy. Like
Absolutely.
there's nothing off limits.
Yeah.
So,
Even like the moms, like if you want to leave the workforce entirely to be a stay-at-home mom to be able to provide for your family, amazing. If you want to go back to work after having a baby, amazing. Like we want this to be a place where all women can feel supported and heard and that they can relate to someone in some way, that you're not alone, and that you have a community of women that support you in whatever way that your path goes.
Exactly. So I feel like as far as what you can expect to hear from us, clearly we love to talk.
Yeah.
But we'll be featuring interviews from family, friend members, colleagues, anyone that we think is an amazing inspiration for those around, and have just a story to share is really what it comes down to. So we'll be releasing episodes every Monday, and in between there, Ellen and I will have some fun one-on-ones. That's like stealing the corporate, the corporate thing.
We love it. We love it.
We love corporate things. So you'll be hearing plenty from us. Please follow us on socials, like, subscribe, everything. I don't even know if you can subscribe. I don't know. We're figuring this out. We're so thankful that you're here. Thank you for tuning in. Alan, you were so great on the microphone. Would you like to come back and do this again another time?
Yes. Can we please circle back to another one-on-one? I'll throw something on your calendar.
Perfect. My calendar is current. So,
okay, good. I won't double book you, I promise.
Alrighty, y'all, enjoy your day. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.